I'm Noelia, founder and CEO of Mediasmart, which is a Spanish company started back in January 2012. We've developed our own proprietary platform, which allows advertisers to serve and manage campaigns in a programmatic environment and on mobile devices. So I guess in the lingo of the industry, we're what you would call a self-serve mobile DSP. And we also have an ad server that we've most recently developed precisely to deal with fraud. So as a horizontal platform, even though we're focused on mobile, we have to deal with fraud in many different shapes. Of course, fraud coming from inventory, something that both us and our ad exchange partners have to very much follow. We have proximity campaigns, for example, that require a lot of precision from a location perspective. So we need to deal with, making sure that lat long information we get from the inventory is accurate, and of course you don't want bots serving inventory, right? So all of this is something that you probably have many other videos about. And given that I only have 5 minutes, I'd like to focus more on attribution fraud, which is something that personally frustrates me the most, because it's something that hurts our advertisers a lot, and that often is difficult to detect, right? So let me talk a little bit about attribution, just to make sure the basis is clear. But obviously one positive thing that programmatic advertising and digital in general brings to the table is that advertisers run data-driven campaigns, right? So they want to get their ROI measured, and there's attribution systems that they use to make sure they can understand which results or which conversions can be attributed to which campaigns. And that is great, and that's how an advertiser should work. The problem is that because only what is measured exists, they're very smart. I don't know if I should call them smart, but there's a lot of people in the market that has decided to be the ones that are the best at measuring conversions or getting conversions attributed to their campaigns. And that's the end goal, right? How can I measure the most conversions for my campaign? Because that will make me seem to deliver the best ROI. And the vicious circle that is created there is very dangerous, because an advertiser will continue to give more and more budgets to those who seem to perform the best. But those that seem to perform the best are in reality the ones that are performing the worst, because what they're doing is sort of stealing conversions. Either those conversions were organic, so they would happen anyway and the customer wouldn't need to pay for them, or they are coming from other advertising channels that therefore cannot be competitive, right? So how do you detect this is not immediate. Luckily in our industry, I think specifically in app marketing, there's been a big evolution in the past year and a half. There's been a lot more awareness, thanks to some advertisers actually, that have been a driving force, and thanks to the awareness amongst advertisers, there's been more tools that have been coming up in the market. Specifically, I think all the tracking and attribution tools for apps have developed their own solutions to prevent fraud, and that has been very positive. But in my view, most of the solutions are still very tactical, right? So we've detected, for example, that some people out there were doing click injection, right? What's click injection? Well, I know that my the tracking tool is going to assign more conversions to me the more clicks I have generated closest to that conversion, right? So I'm going to come up with a way of generating the click at the right time, so that an attribution, an install or a purchase that would otherwise be organic, for example, is attributed to me, right? That is something quite sophisticated to do that, took us, at least me, a while to figure out it was happening. And then once you realize that it's happening, oh, here is how we're going to prevent it, right? Same thing for click flooding, same things for many of the known forms of attribution. Now, the problem with those solutions, I think, is again that they're very tactical, right? So we prevent what we know today. But fraudsters are very imaginative, and they will keep coming up with other things, and we'll need to have new solutions to prevent those things. So what we've done at Mediasmart in our DSP and the ad server is actually look at it from a different perspective. It's to say, let's try to just purely detect inefficiency, right? And the bottom line is, what would you measure when your ad is served versus when your ad is actually not served to the same type of users, right? And if we do that, we're able to actually change the conversation and the KPIs that we use to measure success from a, cost per install, number of installs, cost per purchase, or number of purchases, to cost per incremental install, number of incremental installs, cost per incremental purchase, or number of incremental purchases. And that makes a big difference, because then by default you get rid of fraud, because anything that is fraudulent is not going to give any incremental value. For any network that is using fraudulent practices, the content of the ad doesn't make any difference. So I should basically see the same results if I serve a placebo ad, which we work with NGOs to serve our placebo ads and actually, give somebody good some viewability. But the results would be the same whether the ad is placebo and when the ad is your product, right? So by default, the results of any fraudulent activity would not be incremental. But I think this is better than what is being used today, mostly because, again, it's timeless, right? So any future form of fraud should be prevented as well without us having to develop anything different. And also it prevents not only fraud, but pure inefficiencies, right? Because it could be that your ad is not generating any incremental value because your attribution system is actually not properly set, or because that format actually is not generating any impact on users, or because that particular publisher, I don't know, is already too much like your current base of users, right? So it's a more wholesome, I think, solution that can get rid of fraud, actually, but bring many other advantages as well.